Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of the NFL Draft Triple Take presented by UPMC. Mike Prisuta from the DVE Morning Show and Steelers.com, joined by Dale Lolley of SNR and Matt Williamson of SNR. That's the SNR The Drive tag team, and we're here to continue getting you ready for the NFL Draft. We're going to be talking about interior offensive linemen in this edition. Before we crank this up, I want to remind everybody that you can find this and all other type programming on all of the Steelers social media platforms. Matt, people don't usually get excited about guards and centers, but you need those guys, and sometimes you need to make a significant investment to get those guys.
Yeah, without question. And generally speaking, I mean, the second half of the first round into the top 50 in the second round really generates a lot of good guards and centers. You know, I mean, there's a low bust rate there. You know, you're getting the creme de la creme more often than not at that position. I'll be honest, I have to work on the depth of these guys. You know, it's still early in the process, but the top three in particular for me stand out as potential Pro Bowl type guys.
Yeah, it's so early in the process. We've all got the same guys on our list of five here. We've just got them in a little different order. But Dale, let's kick it off with you. Number 5, Jamaree Salyer from Georgia.
Yeah, I watched him a lot at the Pro Bowl last week, Mike, and played tackle at Georgia, but will probably kick inside to guard because he's just a shade over 6'2.5", but he's 320 pounds. Looks like a plug-and-play player. Plays nasty. Finishes. He's just a very polished. That Georgia team could run the football a little bit. They did a really nice job blocking teams up in the SEC. And this guy looks like he's going to be a 10-year starter in the NFL, maybe from day one. And he's the number 5 guy.
Yeah. He did play left tackle, played a lot of different positions in his Georgia career, but mostly left tackle this year. And I just want to point out, he got my attention because Salyer and his running mate at right tackle, Warren McClendon, that's a name to remember for next year. Those guys played a couple of edge rushers that are projected to be number 1 picks, both of them in the national semifinals. And Aiden Hutchinson and David Ajabo combined for 0 sacks.
It's the shutout. Yeah. They all him. Yeah.
Against the Georgia offense.
If Salyer were 2 inches taller, we'd be talking about him as being one of the top tackles in this draft.
Yeah, I think that a tackle experience helps him, though. He's got long arms. He can operate in space a little bit. I still think he's best coming downhill in a Georgia manner and just mashing people, too. I mean, he's got a lot to work with.
We've all got Kentucky's Darian Kinnard as our number 4 interior offensive line prospect. Matt, why don't you sing the praises of, dare I say it, another Kentucky offensive lineman. They're starting to develop a little bit of reputation in Kentucky as a team that likes to run the ball and mash you a little bit. Yeah,
and some have projected him to tackle. We know there's a shortage of tackles in the league. Maybe he'll get his first crack there. I think he's a guard. I don't mean this to sound negative, but he kind of appeals to me as a 4 or 5 star recruit that was always bigger, stronger than everybody he had to block and never really had to work on the finer points of his game. So now he's going to have to do that to really get the most out of his gifts, but he's very, very gifted.
Yeah, really thick at the, thick legs, thick waist, and not in a bad way. He's just built like a brick wall and plays that way. Yeah. He's just a massive human being. I think he's better suited to play guard than tackle, but I could see a team sliding him out and give him a shot at right tackle right away to see if he can stick out there.
You know, it seems like I learn something new every year when we get into these deep dives on the draft. And I don't know about you guys. I didn't know that there was something in the SEC called the Jacobs Blocking Trophy.
I didn't either.
He won it.
They give to the guy who blocks the best, believe it or not, and he won it. It's a pretty good league.
Okay, yeah, so that was over the Bama guys, and right.
Yeah, pretty good trophy to win. Number 3, we're also not quite in lockstep. I've got Zion Johnson from Boston College, and Dale has Zion Johnson from Boston College. Matt, you've got Kenyon Green of Texas A&M, number 3.
Yeah, Zion versus Green to me is almost a coin flip at this point. Maybe I gave Zion the bump to number 2 because he was at the Senior Bowl and Green wasn't. So Johnson was super impressive. That split that tie for me. The Steelers had success drafting Texas A&M linemen last year. It's been a really good, line at the college level. Yeah, he has a holding penalty here and there, but all in all, there's not much to really dislike about Green. Big, thick, nasty, better run blocker than in protection, but probably will be really good in both.
Dale, Zion Johnson, he is number 2. Excuse me, he's number 2 on Matt's list, but
he's 3 for you and me. Yeah,
he's 3
and
for
really,
you and I.
Yeah, you're splitting hairs between him and Kenyon Green, and I just think that Green is to me a little bit stronger player, a little bit more size, but Zion Johnson, to Matt's point about the Senior Bowl, went down there and played. Had never played center before and wound up, playing a lot of center, not just in practices, but at the game. And you would never have known that he hadn't played center before. He was left tackle at Boston College last year.
Yeah. He was named Practice Player of the Week down there. And that is an award that is given out.
Could be to any position.
Based on what all the NFL representatives that are watching think. It's not a media thing. It's a NFL team thing. So pretty impressive for him. Number 2,
real quick on Johnson. One thing that stood out to me, and I didn't see him in person, but it sure looks like that he has a rare build. Like there's not much fat on this guy. To me, he looks like a well over 300-pound running back. He is a really put together guy.
That's a great point. And to me, there's more and more guys like that. Not necessarily 300-pounders, but are these guys carrying their weight better?
Oh my God. Yeah. We'll talk about some of the defensive tackles, in the coming weeks. And I was looking at some of these guys. I'm like, man, they don't look like they weigh 300 pounds just because of the way that they're built. And I'm like looking up stuff on him when I was at the Senior Bowl. I'm like, he's like 314 pounds. And that's what he weighed in at on Monday. I'm like, man, he looks like he's like 280 just because of the angular builds that these guys have.
So they're kind of a lot like us in that regard.
Absolutely.
Carrying the weight really well.
Yeah. Looks good on you, though.
People surprised when they hear how much we actually weigh because it doesn't look like carrying that much around. One of the most interesting guys, certainly in this group, if not the entire draft. Matt's number 1, Dale's number 1, my number 2, Tyler Linderbaum, center from Iowa. Matt, you're a big fan.
Yeah, I think you have to mention that he is listed 289. I'm curious what he weighs in at the combine. If you're looking for negatives, you could say, can he do battle with the Casey Hampton types or the noses that you deal with in this league that are 350? But boy, he uses leverage in his hands so well that
why does he do that, Matt? Because he's a former, wait for it, state wrestling champion.
Gotta love wrestlers in the trenches.
State champion wrestler. I think we talked about this last year when we were doing these shows, but we all like O-linemen to wrestle.
Yep, they're tough. They're in shape. They know how to use their hands. They can battle for long periods of time.
They know how to stay on their feet, too. That's a big part of it.
Balance. Yep, 100%. The thing that stands out with Linderbaum, that makes him special, and he's going to go in the first round, maybe in the top 10, maybe, well past 20. Who knows? There's only 32 starting centers in the world. But this guy gets to the second level and has some Kelsey and Philadelphia-like traits in space, which is rare.
There's few offensive linemen in the league that come out of Iowa.
A few, yeah. They do a pretty good job there of coaching up those offensive linemen with the coaching staff out there.
Sure do.
Of course, the head coach being a former offensive line coach himself. So they do kind of stress that at Iowa.
Yeah, it's certain programs, I think, start to get an identity for certain things, and O-lineman in Iowa is certainly a pretty good match. That's going to do it for our interior line edition of our series of NFL draft previews. I want to remind everybody that you can find all of this stuff on all of the Steelers' social media platforms. Maybe you want to listen to it, read it, and then watch it. Just to take it all in
all at the same time.
All at the same time, yeah. Right. On 3 different platforms. That would be really cool.
Yeah. Until you figure out what you want to do along those lines, I want to thank everybody for finding us wherever and however they found us. Until the next time, for Matt Williamson and Dale Lolley, I'm Mike Prisuta. This has been the NFL Draft Triple Take presented by UPMC.